Okay, so this is going to be nice and quick. We're just practicing our rules with slightly more difficult questions from yesterday. Hopefully I won't freeze up like I did yesterday. So we're just going to go over the examples. So we have 3x squared times y raised to the 4th power. So we're always going to start with our outermost exponent. So I'm just going to rewrite this. So we would have 3 to the 4th power times, and then this would be x squared times 4, right? Because if you have two things raised to separate powers, you're going to multiply them together, not add. And then I have y to the 1st power. So it would just be y to the 1 times 4, which is just y to the 4. Okay? And then we can work this out a little bit. 3 to the 4th power is 81. So when it says to simplify as much as you can always simplify an integer raised to a power. So don't leave that with that exponent. You can always work those out. X to the 2 times 4 is just x to the 8th, and then y to the 4th. Okay? And there you go. There's the whole thing. That's our answer. Can't simplify any more than that. So we're all done. Okay? Second one, same idea. X to the negative 2nd times y raised to the 5th power. So we would multiply our exponents together. So this would be x, negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. And then y to the 1st times y to the 5th would just be y to the 5th. 1 times 5 is 5. We can't leave our answer like this. You never want to leave it with a negative exponent. So we remember that if we have a negative exponent, we can flip it over. So we would then put this in the denominator, and then it would have the positive exponent. Okay? So if that doesn't make sense, I can actually, let's erase this. We can say that this is over 1, right? So we flip that over. Anything up top with a negative exponent, you're going to put in the bottom, down in the denominator, if you're into technical terms, right? So x to the 10th goes down there. Y to the 5th, that's positive, that stays in our numerator, and then that becomes our answer. Okay? So do not leave anything with a negative exponent. You're always going to flip it. Any negative exponents up top, go to the bottom. Any negative exponents at the bottom, come up to the top. Drop all the negative signs. All right, our last one is a division problem. So we go through this just one part at a time. So I'm going to start with my numbers. So I have 2 up top, and then there's no number here, so I'm going to put a 1. So 2 divided by 1 is just 2. Then we look at our x's. X to the 4th divided by x to the 3rd. So we know we subtract those exponents. So 4 minus 3 is 1. So it's x to the 1st power, or just x. And then we have y to the 2nd divided by y to the negative 2nd. So we still subtract, so you think of this as, or let's actually put it y to the 2 minus negative 2. And if you remember your integer rules, which I hope you do, 2 minus, oh, come on, marker, there we go. 2 minus negative 2 is the same as 2 plus 2. So really what we have here is y to the 4th power. And then that's it, there's nothing left. We notice our entire fraction went away. That happens, that's okay. And there's our answer, okay? So really look at your notes from yesterday, because you're just applying the rules with some slightly, not even really that difficult, they're all pretty straightforward. Different multiple choice questions. So take your time. I noticed looking at the little quizzes we did yesterday, the big mistake people were making is like on this one here, you had 3 to the 4th power, and so some of you were putting like that was a 12. And that's not how exponents work, and you know that. So take your time. The other thing, don't get your rules confused. Remember, if you have an exponent raised to another exponent, you don't add them, you multiply. The only time you add exponents together would be if it was x to the negative 2nd times x to the 5th. Okay, if it's the same base and they're being multiplied together, that's when you add them together. But if it's power raised to another power, you multiply those powers together. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So give it some practice. Let me know if you get stuck.